Welcome to the world of Warcraft.
Welcome back to part 2 of our Blackrock Depths guide. We are moving out of the arena now. We've circled back from the Houndmaster and we're moving up the ramp. This next room. This can be a little tricky, especially with the lower level. You'll notice we are going to pull one of these fire elementals. We'll start clearing them out. They do patrol, you have to be careful. There are also some dwarves over here. There's a small ramp leading up this way to the right here, and then there's a couple more dwarves on the other side of that you have to be careful of. There's also a few more dwarves back here. So what I'm watching out for is so that Sam does not run up here and aggro everything onto her. So you'll see how I start pulling these elementals here in just a moment. There we go, we got one. We're gonna line of sight, pull it back. Then our rogues take care of it. Sam gets a mind flay in. We're looking for that other fire guard. I think he went down the ramp here. So this is what I was speaking of just a moment ago. We've got this group of dwarves here and further groups here. So you usually don't have to worry about them. Although with Sam in the party, we want to make sure that she doesn't stray too far this way. We want to make sure she comes to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these guys here, pull them right back down. There we go, we've got them. They're fairly quickly dispatched. Thankfully, disarm does not affect druid tanking like it does warrior. And I'm going to pull... I think I pull the extra dwarves. Let's see. Yeah, I definitely pull all those dwarves. Okay. Could have CC'd them. Thankfully, they're low enough level, it's not too much of a problem. Leave one to the rogues. The other three I'm able to just straight up tank with Sam healing me. No real issues there. Then after this, we're going to release the lock on the gate that will let us go further into Blackrock Depths, but we are not going to go that way quite yet. So you'll see one of the rogues head down after this pull to unlock it. This time we mark. Some of those pulls are way too quick for marks. I was just pulling them to help speed things along. This is a long dungeon as it is, so we were trying to keep it moving. Now we still have that fire elemental that should be coming up the ramp to our left. Yep, there it is. It found Sam before I found it. We're going to take that out. And now, pause that real quick. Down this ramp, and you can jump up on the banister here, and down here if you're level 60 safely and unlock with the key. You can unlock the gate. One of the rogues is going to go ahead and do that now for us. There are a couple of groups to watch out for that you can clear if you need to or want to. I don't go over that way, so I won't be able to show you directly, but the rogues will go unlock that. I will try and have that on another run. Maybe I'll just do a sneak in by myself and unlock that just to show here. So let's continue. So for this part on Turtle WoW, there's a difference. Let me pause and show you. If you couldn't already see, a lot of these are yellow instead of red like they would be in Classic. Right now I'd have aggroed the majority of these. But on this first pull to the right, you only have to pull these 2 mobs. And of course I recommend killing the medic because they'll heal. But all of the other spectators, all of these in yellow, will not pull unless directly attacked. Now, in the distance, you will notice that there are some that are red and some that are yellow mixed in. So be aware of that. Sometimes it's easier to just AoE them if you have strong AoE. But for our group, with more single target DPS, I've been trying to avoid a lot of AoE pulls. It's not always possible, but we do our best. Here we go. We'll show clearing around the right side of the arena here. We're gonna line of sight pull them back a bit. You can see the rogues just murder the medic real fast. Piece of cake. Spectators should not pull with the peasants and the citizen. So there are the 2 elites here. Let me pause just to make a quick annotation. We have 1 medic, 2 medics. That's the only elites here. And then we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 that will also pull with it. These in yellow should not pull at all. In Classic, they would all be red. Go ahead and get a markup on a couple of them. And as you can see, the yellow ones don't come here. Quick annotation, I hate pausing it so much, I'm sorry, but this brazier can be used to break line of sight. Force them to come around on either side and get you. There's just the 1 peasant that I had to deal with. The 2 right behind this medic didn't pull initially, so I just go ahead and go in there to tank them all. Make sure I'm not swiping any of the yellow spectators. Jumping does not increase your dodge. It's just a habit. Here we go. Got 1 medic down. Get the other medic down. We'll speed through this next pull, but I just wanted to show you how we get to the ramp before we move out of the arena here. So we've got our fire elemental. He patrols quite a ways. He patrols back over here near the boss, all the way out across the bridge to our left. So you have to find out where he is before you pull this group. As far as this group is concerned, we have 1, 2, and you can barely see her here, 3 elites. I recommend getting CCs on 2 of these, depending how strong your group is. You might be able to just tank and spank all of them. But I will warn you that there's another group over here of about the same number of mobs, and about over here, again, another group. There's a little space in here that you can play with, but I recommend pulling the mobs here, or better yet, pull them all the way back here because of this fire elemental patrolling. So let's see how we did it. Wait for that fire elemental to pass. Get some marks up. He chose to mark the little guys. Saps failed. I went ahead and started getting in there to start killing stuff. We're pretty fortunate with to be decently geared. These mobs aren't too bad. I'm able to keep most of them on me so the rogues can sit there and backstab. One last elite here. More black diamonds. You can see the group to the left here, and to the right, and a little bit of space in between. I can see that fire elemental coming back. I'm going to go ahead and pull this group. Even though that fire elemental is approaching, I'm just going to have to remember that he's coming. And when he does, I will have to grab him. I do believe, actually, that Jaxil went and distracted him. So one of the rogues went and distracted the patrolling fire elemental to give us just that much more time. So I'm going to wait for that elemental. Here he comes. Wait for him. Take him out. And then we'll finish the rest of the sapped mobs. They might come while we're fighting this. Just can't forget about them so they don't go murder Sam. Oh, here comes one already. One of the medics and one of the peasants. Go ahead and start taking them out. Not too bad. You can see the Pyromancer in the background here. After this group, I will do a quick explanation of this boss fight. Thankfully, it's pretty straightforward, tank and spank. While this fast forwards, I do want to remind you that it is important to take breaks during the dungeon for people to get food, drinks, or take restroom breaks. Alright, here we go. So, as you can see, we have 2 ads, awful, and 1 boss. Side note, this statue is where you create the key for BRD after getting Ironfell from Fineous Darkvire, the last boss we're going to kill in this part. So you'll have to bring the part that he drops all the way back here to complete the key to Blackrock Depths. Now for Pyromancer Loregrain. Trying to time my Starfire. There we go. Starfire, Moonfire. And tank and spank time. He only has 8,300 health. Doesn't hit particularly hard. Start on the emissaries. The rogues take him out real fast. And we finish him up. Sam gets a nice upgrade, and we are going to move ahead to the bridge. And we're back. We've got the bridge here. Hidden off to the side are 2 fire elementals, one here, one over here to the right. You can also see them mirrored across the way. They're in the same location here and here. Now, I would recommend pulling these back into this room just to save line of sight, save yourself some trouble. Also, something to watch out for, when you get to the middle of this bridge, a mob will spawn here and out here. They're just 2 elite dwarves, but it's something to be aware of in case your healer's trailing behind. They can aggro on them and cause you a world of hurt if you forget and you pull these mobs while these other 2 are coming at you. So be aware. Wait for Sam to catch up. Go ahead and pull the fire guard. Both of them come at the same time. And we're going to move across the bridge. Aha! You'll notice that Jaxil went across the bridge stealth. They didn't aggro onto him, but they did spawn. So that was actually quite handy. I was able to get aggro on both of them without too much trouble. And we could handle them before they potentially interfered with the fire guard pull coming up. There we go. Pull them back. Get some of that healing aggro. That's why I rejuve myself there. So that when Sam healed for the first time, they didn't immediately go to her. Hopefully I could hold some of that with healing and obviously some direct damage. This next group can be a little bit tricky. It's about the same size as the ones in the other room back there by the Pyromancer, but you can see there's a fire guard with it. And if I'm not mistaken, we botched this a little bit. That dog takes off after Jaxil. I go in and just start pulling everything off him, trying to save him. And I'm mostly successful until this is where we lost him. No, I think it's further in. We gotta get the dog off him. Sam heals him. And we handle it. This is part of those adjustments that you talk about. Sometimes you just have to do things on the fly as they happen. You just have to be ready for it. No need to panic. Have an idea of what you should be doing. Know your role. And if you're running with a group you know, then you can trust that everybody else knows their role, or perhaps maybe you'll have to watch a little more closely because it's a pug group and you've got a weaker member. So I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit here, past these next couple pulls. Alright, a quick note for continuity here. I just wanted to show you which way we went when we came in. So this is where we had just crossed the bridge. We are coming to the left here. Since we had Samander here, level 48, there's a group of dwarves across here that we went ahead and took out, along with the group that spawns here and over here. Pardon the bags once again, but I just wanted to show you where we were so you don't get lost. Alright, we moved down the ramp, and now we are going to pull this group here once we get everybody sapped. A couple things to watch out for. There's a fire guard patrol that patrols around the ring out here, so you have to be watch out for him. Additionally, there's the group you can see here, as well as another group of dwarves here that I believe can be pulled in 3 different pulls if you do it right. But this group and the group in the distance are all linked together, so you have to pull them all at once. Get our saps down. Go ahead and take that officer. Now, mind you, once these guys get low, they will bubble and heal themselves once. I recommend also taking the peasants out like our rogues did there, because they will try and heal as well. So once the officer bubbles, we all switch to the emissary, take him out. The officer tries to heal him. Too little, too late. Now we just have to wait for that bubble. Mass Dispel doesn't come out till Burning Crusade, so we can't use that, even if we wanted to. Go ahead and take this group out. And you'll notice that the fire guard has arrived, and we'll take him out as well. I do want to go over this next pull, because it is unique. On this next pull, these can be pulled separate from this. And I think if you sap, clear that. I think if you sap here, you can pull these two, but I'm not 100% on that. But I do know that these two on the right can pull together. I think that these two are linked. Moonfire the group on the right. A little video distortion there, I apologize, it's happened a couple times now. Let the rogues handle that peasant, we take this peasant. Now we're going to start on the left group. Alright, we're going to pull this last group, get our marks up, take them out. Saps down, marks up. We have a sap fail here that ends up pulling. Not a huge problem. Even if I wasn't there, the rogues could have handled that like you see. Now I'm going to start on the bodyguard. Go ahead and swipe that peasant. We're going to take the bodyguard out, and then we're going to take the peasant on. And last but not least, the emissary. Let's move ahead to the next room and get a good shot of that. So you could kind of see just a moment ago we have 2 over here, 2 in the back, and 2 right here, as well as the boss. So a few things to watch out for in here. Thankfully, they can pull separate. This group can pull on its own, as well as this front group, and then the back group. These three can pull separate, thankfully. We go ahead and pull that peasant. Notice that only she came, not that back group. We're just waiting to line of sight her. She heals herself, and she's going to get ganked by the rogues here in just a second. There she goes. We're going to go for the bodyguard. Take them out. Just work methodically through the room. Better safe than sorry. I'm going to go ahead and pull square there instead of diamond because he was further away from the boss and I did not want to accidentally pull the boss. Moving to the next pull. Just a quick annotation. We're almost done with this part. So with these two, the reason I'm pulling this mob is because this mob should not be close enough to the boss. Now mind you, the boss is recessed a little bit, so he's actually back in this room. It might be a little hard to see. So there should be enough distance from these two mobs. But there's no reason to risk it. So we're going to go ahead and pull this Twilight Emissary back a little bit, take out the peasant as well, and then we'll work on the boss. Waiting for mana. There we go. And they're going to go ahead and gank the emissary. A little risky, but honestly it worked, and if something had messed up, the rogues could have vanished had they got the boss, although we could have probably just handled the boss at that point. Let's break down this boss fight. We have a caster, mage type, and a tank and spank dog. I recommend killing the dog first, just because of the damage output is a bit higher, and you can actually line of sight the mage, so you could back and forth here with aggro on the mage, and he wouldn't be able to cast all the time if you're quick enough. Whereas the dog would just constantly keep doing physical DPS, and it's quite high if I recall. This fight accidentally starts with a body pull. Watch Sam on the right hand part of the screen here. Sam actually doesn't aggro there, although she's getting close. Oh, there she goes. Alright, we moonfire the dog, moonfire the mage. Now you'll notice the mage is on me, so I go ahead and hit him. Now we're going to try to get back on that dog to try and get them off the rogues, although they're doing a great job of evasion tanking. You did see me line of sight the mage there when he ran back in that corner. I went ahead and said, alright, that's fine, you're not going to do any damage to me if I just run out of this room. Let's advance here and discuss a little more about the vault. The Dark Keeper portrait here will let you know the location of the Dark Keeper, and the location of the Dark Keeper will change each run, and there are actually different Dark Keepers every run you do. So they're different named mobs each time. The Dark Keeper will drop the key to the vault. There are coffer keys that you could pick up throughout the dungeon that will open these smaller coffers. Once you open all those smaller coffers, be warned, these golems will all activate. There are 4 total elite. It's best to be prepared for them. Don't be surprised, or it's a good chance you're going to wipe the party if you're not prepared. Let me continue the video just so you can see what I'm talking about when it tells you the location of the mob. You can see we clicked there. This will tell you where the Dark Keeper is. And he is in the Grim Guzzler. We will see him in part 3 when we go through the Grim Guzzler, but for now, just know that that's where he is. And if we wanted to open this right away, that's where we'd go directly to find him. Alright, now let's move on to the next pull. Alright, we're going to pull the last group in the ring, and we will move on to Fineous Darkvire, who holds Ironfell. Take Ironfell to the statue behind Pyromancer Loregrain, and we saw him not too long ago across the bridge. Doing so will create the Shadowforge Key. The Shadowforge Key opens up some of the side doors to help make future BRD runs a bit shorter, unless you need some of these earlier bosses. Let's advance to the first pull, the next area, right before we take down Fineous Darkvire. So you'll notice there's a patrolling Warbringer construct. He goes up and down this set of ramps here. And I'm going to try and pull him. I'm going to pull this Warbringer here before he gets to the top of this ramp. Now, this Warbringer is not the only mob that comes when you pull. There's about 3 or 4 dwarves that are kind of hidden back in here that will come with him. Thankfully, they're non-elites. They're pretty easy to take out. But something to watch out for. If you're not careful, they can get on your healer and cause some disruption and some problems. And if you get too many groups, like you can see down here, there's a couple Warbringer constructs near each other. That can cause a lot of trouble. You can get a lot of mobs going if you're not careful. Let's go ahead and pull here. We go ahead and pull the one group. You'll notice the dwarves coming. There are 3. We get 1 blind out. Pull this guy all the way back. Sam was waiting to start healing until now, so that she didn't get any aggro mid-pull. But didn't have to chase any mobs down. Very considerate. We'll go ahead and take these dwarves out. We'll start searching for the boss, because the boss also patrols up and down that same ramp that the Warbringer construct does. Except he will pause at different stages. So here we come. Start looking for him. There he is. So you'll notice he's coming back already. So we're just going to wait for him to come up here. And then we'll pull and take him out. Here he comes. And we will take him out. Fairy Fire on to help with some DPS. He does try to heal himself. So he's a little annoying. But other than that, he's a tank and spank. That wraps up part 2. Stay tuned for part 3 soon. Thanks for watching.